Right. In which case, we can pop over now to our guest, Jonathan.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
working
I
out
drew
there?
this guy, so no one had to watch me draw. But
Right. Anyway,
so,
the stage is yours. So introduce, talk,
yeah,
and go. Go,
yeah.
bro.
So if I can remember the history, in 2011, we put out like at HitSense, we put out a little web game called DrawStickman.com. It's probably still out there, but it was just like a JavaScript HTML like story, basically. Like it maybe took you a minute or two to beat it. And from that idea, we got so many people coming to the site, like it crashed their web server. We wrapped the website in a mobile app and put it on the App Store. So we had a web view version of this thing. Um, and from there, we got in the top 10 on the iOS App Store with this little 2-minute like web game. So all this is happening, and we're also like working on customer projects, but we decide to kind of pivot and make a real game, right, instead of a 2-minute story. And so that's what this game here I have is. It's Draw Stickman Epic is the actual game, made with MonoGame, and this came out in 2012, and we came out. I think like when Windows 8 launched, we were like in the Windows 8 store. We were on iOS. We were on Google Play. We were on Amazon. So we, using MonoGame, we were able to go to all those places, right? So we can play the game a little bit. I drew this guy, and I'm going to hit check. It kind of, the way it begins is very similar to how the story was in the web game. It's kind of teaching you how to move. And it says, I need a friend, draw me a friend, right? So I'm going to make the friend not so not so detailed. Why not? Well, actually, let's make him mad too. How about that? And let's name him Bob. How about that? So I think this entire game, if I remember, is just calling Sprite Batch to draw all this. And we had people who were animators and designers, graphic artists that use Flash. And I think we did all the animation just in Flash, and we had this like little tool to export the animation so that we could use it in the game. And the way he walks, that's kind of interesting too, is I think the same animators I'm mentioning, they animated a square that was approximately the dimensions of a Stickman, and each line is like a Sprite Batch draw call. And I think we did some math to fit the points on the square so that they could follow these animations over time. In some of the later games, I think we ended up like rendering them to an image, which kind of actually sounds like a smarter thing to do, a single image. But this was also our first game we had ever made. So the whole the whole game here was meant to be kid friendly. But I don't know why. Like if let's say I draw some fire here, it's gonna spread and probably kill these bunnies, right? Like, but it's a pretty fun game. I have not played this in a while, honestly. And when I can think of when this game came out, obviously iOS and Android, it ran on Xamarin. And I remember going to meet people at Xamarin and showing them this game, right? Which is a big reason why I'm at Microsoft today, right? we can just beat this level. I think things can get crazy when this dynamite goes off. Yeah. So nothing about the game is meant to be difficult. Hopefully I won't die because there's no health. This may be the end of the level. We'll see. I think it is. Yeah. So there's more secrets in there, but every level has, like you can find colors to give you new pencil colors in if you play the game over. You know, I only had 4 to choose from with a default save, but
it's also a testament to like MonoGame itself. It's one thing we've tried to reiterate in state. It's a case of the overside API has not changed, and games that were built 5, even 10 years ago still run. It's just that they get the benefits of all the modern changes and all the updates when they go to tweak it. I mean, the biggest issues we always had were with content and how the content pipeline worked, but the underlying game, how it draws, should just work.
Yeah. I'm having a feeling that this is a dead end that I'm going on. Yeah, one thing about, I said, is just calling sprite batch a whole bunch to make this whole game. And then we had the data exported from Flash. I'm pretty sure that was just like JSON files, right? And then we wrote code that could load them. And then over time, it moves the sprite what the JSON file says to do. And that's how we get these bobbing trees, the moving stickman. All right, here's our friend. We found him. It's Bob. And then we meet the main bad guy. The company that made Among Us had an earlier game called Henry Stickman. It was kind of like a story. Mm-hmm. And it says Stickman in the name, but I don't know. Did we influence them? I don't know. It would be cool if we did. Because Among Us is huge, obviously. Okay, so this level have a new pencil. And I think what's interesting about it is if you draw an open cloud, it rains, and they see the tree growth. And if you draw a colored in cloud, let's do it around the bunny. It should be a lightning bolt. Let's see. Yeah, and he's toast. And so the level design in this game isn't super great either. Like, when I think, like, why do the pencils change every level? Like, just questions like that, like, there's not a good answer. Like, that's the way we happen to make it, I think something happens if you rain on these vegetables enough. I'm trying to remember.
And how many people were there involved with the actual game dev side of things, and how many artists, etc.?
So we probably had 3 developers, and one of them was really focused game developer, and then the other guy was like me, like developing customer apps kind of guy. And I think we had 3 animators, and then one person who was just art, like, so decent number of people. I swear something happened. Here's the real puzzle of the level. If you walk into those bees, they'll hurt you. And so you just kind of find out that if you make all these flowers grow, you can get past. I wish I'd remembered that waterfall thing, because I think that was a different exit.
So one of the things going through, I mean, from the story of how the game was created and built and the tools you've used in between it, what sort of some of the key elements that sort of kept you awake while both building and also shipping the game?
Yeah. So what? Like we also came out with Epic 2, and one of the things that, like in Epic 2, we went to Unity, and it wasn't a developer choice because I would say all the developers are like, oh, you know, who worked on this one. But Unity gave like a level editor, so non-technical people could do things, right? Where like this game, we kind of had a custom built like end-to-end workflow. Like you're in Flash, you run this thing, you get the JSON out, and then the game can run, right? So that's an area I wonder if MonoGame could have some kind of an editor one day, or you know what I mean, like not to say that you really need it. It depends on who your team is, you know.
Yeah, you know, that's something we've discussed in the past, and it's more of a, you know, I think that what you did in the first one was really the path that is probably in my opinion, is the more right path, is building a tool that suits your game, right? Like, because while Unity and tools like that in a real engine, great, they have an editor, but it doesn't really fit this game. You know, you're trying to figure out how to make it fit the game, right? Or how do I use this full 3D editor to build this game that it's mostly 2D, but not really, it's 2.5D kind of thing. It becomes difficult. So, you know, it's interesting. It would have been interesting to see if you took your tools to the next level, like how could it improve, you know, and things are better now than they were back then. There's a lot more C# resources and stuff. I think it would be easier to do, you know, a custom tool for this than it was back then.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Unity, what I remember is we were fighting the engine a lot to like make the engine do what we wanted the game to be.
Yeah.
where that is not what our experience with MonoGame at all, right? Like
right. It's more of a figure out what you want to do with it, you know, versus this is the only thing it does, figure out how to make your game around it kind of problem, right?
Right.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're building certain types of games, it might be the right path for you. And if you want to have, and if you're mostly a team that is artists without technical people, it kind of helps. But in the cases where you have technical people and you have a very strong vision of what you want to see, and you need a particular workflow, I think this is a better path for people.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of, you know, maybe most of MonoGame developers are just like one guy working on their game, you know. If that's the case,
sure. Lots of
that
solo
you don't need an editor, you know. So I somehow
one thing we've been proving out with the new samples and things is that the editor will be wherever you need it to be. So for the platform, we're using Blender because it makes sense to edit, change, do things, and Blender's the editor. Or if you want to use build your own look, and we've seen some of the packages in like MonoGame Extended where they're actually building their own little editors using MonoGame, but separate from the actual game.
Yeah.
And building it out and doing things. So many different ways rather than you're forced down one locked path of this is the only way to do it. Although I have built editors with Unity alongside Unity, and that's another lesson in pain of figuring out how Unity does. I mean, Unity does a lot of things great, but for a lot of projects, you're having to change your vision to fit how Unity does it, not just build your game.
Right.
I was wondering if you can talk about if there was any like extra marketing or anything like that was done for the game, or was it just quite organic?
Oh, yeah. So somehow we got in touch with people at Microsoft, and you know, when we mentioned that we could get this game to run on Windows 8, like they wanted everything about that for some reason, right? Like maybe they were reaching out to a lot of indie people. But when Windows 8 launched, like I think they put us on the front page of the Windows Store And it was a thing that back then. What was it? Was it called Surface? Maybe it's called something else. But they had that tablet that was Windows 8. Maybe it was called Surface then, and it ran great on that thing, right? Like it's like an iPad that was Windows, and you could touch with your finger and play this game, right? So that helped us out, and I feel like they reached out to us, honestly, as how that conversation started. Now, as far as like we also talked with Xamarin. I think we reached out to them, and they just invited us to come meet, the people at Xamarin. But I don't know that brought any like money toward the game. That was more like just future connections, maybe. Everything else was really organic, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember meeting you at one of the Xamarin summits way back then, and a few of the other guys. And so there wasn't that much like on the other platforms like iOS or.
Well, okay, I can remember a story now. So this music is blaring in my ears. I'm gonna go back to a different level.
Feel free to mute it if you want.
Yeah, so I remember a story that this is pretty funny, I think. So have you heard of, there's a YouTuber named Dan TDM who's big on Minecraft, and he's probably over the hill now. But he played this game, and when he did that, we were instantly like top of the App Store in the UK, right? And we're like, out of nowhere, I think this kind of happened, and then shortly, like 2 or 3 days later, it was the US store too, right? And he just happened to play our game on his YouTube channel, right? So he reached out to us after that because he had these shows where he was going around in person. I don't know what he would do at these shows because he was like he's just a Minecraft YouTuber. And he's like, "Hey, can you make a special build of the game and like put me in the game?" And I'm pretty sure we did something like that. And it was something like, if you named your friend Dan, he would turn into Dan, like a custom drawn artwork.
Oh, cool.
Of him. So that's another thing. I would say that was organic. That we just got lucky that some YouTuber liked our game, right? Like,
yeah, I'm sure that would help. And adding him in as well was a nice little like what's the term, like a hidden secret type thing.
Yeah, and I do think that there's other things you can name your friend that will do things. When I named him Bob, I had to think for a second. Is that one of them? Yeah. But that's a story I had forgotten about.
Microsoft Bob was going to appear.
Yeah.
Don't name him Clippy.
Yeah.
Don't name him.
Oh, yeah, you're going to go with Clippy as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone has a picture of it in the chat. That's Dan right there. If you're thinking of a Minecraft YouTuber with weird blue hair, it's the same guy, right? Like I think he's in a Minecraft movie as an extra, right? Like, and it was funny to like talk to him on the phone. Right. Very, very random, weird experience.
How did I'm guessing the company dealt with the fame of the game by now becoming a publisher, but how did the rest of the team deal with having, how did you guys feel about having such a hit?
Well, we felt like at that time, the company we moved into a new office that was amazing. Like we had been in this like little piece of the old mall in our town that is like an incubator for businesses. And they built this new structure downtown by a minor league baseball field. And we had the top floor of that building. And I remember looking out of the window of my new desk and I could see the baseball field. I'm like, we just upgraded. We don't know what happened, right?
Yeah.
Of course, that all ended a few years later. But that was a great time to work for them and to be in that office. I like it. The office was new. It felt like you were at like Google or something. You know, I mean, like Microsoft offices are a little stark, but but yeah.
Fair enough. We've only got about 15 minutes left. Maybe we if you finished, Jonathan, we can go to Q&A.
Yeah,
maybe people have questions for you as well.
I felt like I was just playing this game, so happy to talk more.
Sure.
Bring out the cake.